Hey beautiful people, so today we're going to talk about the solar plexus. We're going to talk about that chakra. We're going to talk about how it gets out of balance, and we're going to talk about how to bring it back into balance. We're going to talk about spiritual things. We're going to talk about physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual effects, and how that your gut, it's basically your gut, gets out of alignment and the problems that come from that and how they manifest into physical illness. So for many of us, we may or may not have experienced stress, depending on what the situation is. We may have just been eating poorly. We may have been around people that were toxic. We may have been, job loss or had to deal with conflict on the job. There's lots of ways your gut gets out of alignment. For particular situations, you can do particular things, but it's best to cover all the bases when you realize, okay, I'm having problems in this area. So say for instance, you're dealing with gas, bloating, maybe you're dealing with weight gain in the belly area. Of course, we know a lot of that is produced from stress, which is a result of the production of cortisol. So when your gut gets out of balance and you're having to deal with all these issues, constipation, diarrhea, bloating, gas, what is it that is causing that? Those are starting to be the physical manifestation of illness, but they can definitely be related to those different areas. So foods is one. I did a video on that already. I'm doing a 3-day fast. I gave y'all the recipe for the honey lemon ginger tea that I put grapefruit and lemon essential oil in. And one of the best ways to physically get your gut back into balance, whether it's bacteria overgrowth, whether it's candida yeast, so it could be Lyme, you could be dealing with autoimmune disorders. You could be dealing with, IBS, your gut lining being destroyed. One of the best ways to get your gut back into alignment is to do teas and bitters. The Bible talks about bitters. He talks about putting bitter herbs. He talks about wormwood. God does in the Bible. He talks about the gut. In Revelation, I'm trying to draw here to memory. In Revelation, he tells John to swallow the scroll, and to his gut it will be bitter. Bitter is good for the stomach, so that's why I added the lemon and the grapefruit essential oil to already what would kind of be a bitter tea. The lemon bringing pH balance to the gut, the ginger being highly antiviral and antibacterial, and the honey soothing. Bitters are one of the best way. And when you are doing a fast for your gut, of course you're going to be eliminating the opportunity for any bad bacteria or yeast to continue to grow. So adding bitters to the stomach is very important for helping to reset, kill bad bacteria, kill virus, and reset that gut area. Also, our gut can get out of alignment from toxic people, places, and things. So here's one right here, and this is God's word on this. The words of a talebearer, this is say for instance you're around someone toxic or who's accusing you of wrong things that you haven't done. The words of a talebearer are as wounds, and they go down into the innermost parts of the belly. So it's very factual that being around toxic people, especially liars, especially people who are accusing, and we all know that the Bible says that Satan is an accuser of the saints. So whether you do something wrong or not, they're sitting there accusing you. That is very bad toxicity for your system. And the best thing you can do is take the advice of any recovery or therapy program and remove yourself from toxic people, places, and things. Change those nouns. But that could be, work stress. That could be relationship stress. That could be whatever. But that's going to throw your gut out of alignment, being around toxic people, especially people that are lying and accusing. Working on your inner self, healing your wounds, understanding toxicity, how people operate. That is one of the best ways to get yourself to an emotionally bulletproof stage where it's like, you know what, I just feel sorry for you. What did they say when you were in school? Sticks and stones may hurt my bones, but words will never hurt me. That's gonna bring me to another little side note I wanna address. So I did not pick a fund to donate to this month, or I was supposed to do a domestic violence shelter. I'm going to skip that. I'm feeling a very big pull in my gut to donate to the cause of Heather Wyatt in Ocean Springs, Mississippi. Being around bullies for several years that would not stop and caused her daughter to unalive herself. She then posted some things on social media and has been silenced by the courts. So you're supposed to follow your gut intuition. That is there for a reason. So if anybody makes a purchase this month, that's where the donation is going, is to help this mom in her cause to receive justice for the bullies that actually just would not stop and kept on. And this young lady decided that it was better to take herself out of this world than to have to deal with such toxic people. So that's where the money is going to go. We don't have long. It's already the 10th of July. Whatever's collected through the rest of this month, I'm going to donate to, she quit her job to be able to talk about what had happened to her daughter, so she doesn't have an income. And then on top of that, she's being sued by the bully's family and silenced by the courts. So if you haven't looked into that, I did a video on being small town cooked and how relationships and family status can be a mountain to climb, especially when all you're doing is talking about what's happened. And I feel for her in my heart, and I just have this gut pull that is where I would like to put any money collected this month towards. So 10% of all sales this month are going to go to help Heather Wyatt. She has now got to, and I know full well what that's like because I am on my 4th attorney in 2 years, and just it's a mountain to climb to just speak the truth. And sometimes you get put in jail, sometimes you get falsely arrested, you get charges put on you, backdoor deals are made, family connections, and all you're wanting is either justice or to be able to speak your truth about what happened. So 10% of any sales for the rest of this month is going straight to Heather Wyatt. It's not fair what's happening to her, and it's not fair what happened to her child. So I don't take kindly to bullies or abusers on my channel. And yeah, the words of a talebearer that probably hit her daughter. The words of a talebearer are his wounds, and they go down into the innermost parts of the belly. If you haven't been keeping up with it, also Ocean Springs newspaper did a smear campaign on this woman to make her look just like all abusers do, crazy, and try to redeem the people that were actually doing the wrong. So let's all support one another, especially when people are up against things that seem like a mountain. And yeah, so that's that on the biblical aspects of how your gut can get out of alignment. Words said to you, toxic people, stressful environments, foods we eat, all of that. What can you do to start getting back into alignment? I also want to talk about the feelings that reside in the gut. When you are dealing with healing your gut, you're probably also dealing with having to overcome certain feelings. And I had notes on this that I may have left behind. But when you're trying to ground your gut, bring it back into balance and harmonize it, yes, here we are. Sometimes you're dealing with feelings due to whatever, I said before, food, toxic people, stress, whatever. That particular area is affected by things like anxiety, despair, disgust. I mean, you'll feel your stomach tighten up automatically when you are around these things that disgust you. If you're starting to have anxiety about issues, nervousness, worry, failure. This one is a big one. If you're having anxiety in the gut, experiencing some of these problems with your gut being out of balance, and you are constantly feeling like you're a failure, the feelings of guilt, they reside in the gut. check yourself and see if you need to be doing some repentance. Check yourself and see if you need to be making some changes in your life, the way you behave spiritually or towards other people. Helplessness, a lack of control, and that's a real big one, and a lack of control of our circumstances or those around us. God is in total control. We know that, although we are accountable for what our actions are or what we do, but a lack of control. And, sadly, a lot of people who are put into situations where there is, and for children of narcissists and for victims of abuse or bullying, things like that, a lack of control is a huge one, because things are usually happening to us, and we see it as to us instead of for us. And so that lack of control and not knowing how to turn things around, maybe it's vindicate ourselves, maybe it's, prove our innocence, maybe it's we don't have that poor girl, I'm just going to bring Aubrey White up. She did not have any control over a situation. She had to go to school with these people. So lack of control. All these feelings of depression and anxiety reside in the gut, and we know there's a gut-brain axis. So even something is feeling like, spiritually, I feel convicted to do something. I know this situation isn't right, but I'm going to run with it anyway, or I'm going to turn a blind eye. Those feelings reside in the gut. God gives you a gut intuition about a person, place, or a thing, or a situation. You don't follow it. That gut intuition that's given to you, that directly reflects, is affected also in the brain. Low self-esteem, trust, and betrayal also reside in the gut. So when you are hit with something, let's just say you walk into a room and you hear someone, say your closest friend, whispering about you, that's going to hit you in your gut. Those are all feelings that can be trapped in the gut to throw your body out of alignment. If you have to be around someone that has been ugly to you, or that you can't trust, or you have to work beside someone, all of those feelings get trapped in the gut. Fear, stress, and everything outside of our control, gut. Those are gut issues. So how can we heal those? Well, number one, I've already talked about the food. I've already talked about the bitters. Number two, spiritually. You really do have to start addressing your own inner work. You have to start healing, especially if it's something that you don't have control over. If there is a way to remove yourself from a situation, by all means, but also you have to start addressing things that affect you emotionally, how they affect you, and what you can do to change it. Another thing you can do is, I have this one out that is something you can put topically on your belly. You can put drops in your stomach, and I made this actually for someone who had a lot of stomach trouble, and now I understand why. It was definitely a spiritual issue, but it's ginger, it's peppermint, it's lemon, tangerine, frankincense, and it's all in a small 10% carrier oil so that it doesn't burn. You can put this directly into your belly button. It doesn't, the ginger is Chinese and it is organic, so it's very stout and pungent. It doesn't exactly smell horrible, but it doesn't smell nice either. It's very herby. But you can drop this in your belly button to help reside all of that nervousness going on with the gut. Nervousness in the gut is something that also will cause you to lose extreme weight or gain extreme weight. Nausea works on all of that. Nervousness, anxiety, nausea. Lemon and ginger are two of the best herbs out there to help you with nausea. So even someone who is pregnant who just has morning sickness could use this. Just put 1 or 2 drops in the belly button. You put it in the actual belly button and let it sit or rub it in. If it's someone who is dealing with things that the nervousness causes them to get sick, you can just rub it on the stomach all the way around. That will help to bring that into balance. That will help to calm, and that will help to stop anything that feels like nausea, diarrhea, burping, gas, bloating, constipation. It will help with all of that. But those are some reasons why your gut will tighten. Another thing is when you're under extreme stress, you may also experience weight loss. even though you're eating. That is a very big sign that your gut is out of alignment and your solar plexus chakra is working on stress. You're running on stress hormones. But then again, it could also be a sign that if you have a lot of belly fat in that area. Eating your emotions, that's another one. Sometimes when we experience these emotions such as anxiety, depression, nervousness, worry, can't control things outside of ourselves, we will eat our emotions. And oftentimes we don't reach for the most healthy foods. So eating your emotions, learning to do that inner work, learning to understand the toxicity that we're dealing with and how to control our emotions, learning, and that's just like, there's a ton of addictions out there. It just so happens that having a food addiction isn't illegal. It's not gonna get you put in jail. They're not gonna make you go to therapy for it. So that's one of the things that, is one of those respectable sins. Porn, that's another one. Taking prescription pills, that's another one. There's a lot of ways we deal with our emotions instead of handling the emotions and what's causing it and, doing your inner work. There's a lot of ways in which we reach for other things, but eating your emotions, that is another huge one. So instead of eating your emotions, look for the more spiritual alignment ways to get them back into effect. If you have that tummy effect of nervousness or things outside of your control, try to sit down and read scripture. Try to look up on the internet ways to effectively heal your emotions, doing some inner work, doing some journaling, doing some meditating. Having negative thoughts about oneself is also another huge one that affects the gut. Limiting beliefs. But also if you are doing some inner work, you can reach out to me for holistic counseling. But if you are doing inner work and you are doing what you think you need to do, but you have these things you haven't dealt with, many times, and I want to make a point to say this too, that the education that I've gotten for holistic practitioner is also grounded in scripture. So even though I might touch on some things that other people think are, not godly, this all comes from a Christian-based institution. And these are some good ones. Many times we do not realize why we feel such a drain on our emotions. The Word of God says that out of our hearts flow the issues of life, and the words that we speak are the issues that are flowing out. By the words we speak, we can tell what our limiting beliefs are. So if we're speaking bad about others, if we're accusing others, the Bible just said that that will tear up others. That's a way of projecting negativity onto someone else. But it always comes back. We can always feel also that we are not good enough. We're so tired. Why does this always happen to me? I catch the blank every time it comes around. I've gotten the short end of the stick. I'm really alone. No one understands me. I can't let anyone get close to me. I can't trust anyone. All these things, these limited beliefs, affect our gut. Instead, we actually need to turn that around and we need to rephrase our limiting beliefs. Instead of something happening to me, something is happening for me. Instead of I don't have control, I feel like I don't have control, or I can't get this person to see or make, you have to turn it around and you have to, release control to God. You have to say, I'm not going to be able to handle this. This is something that is going to require the intervention of the Lord. Let's see. This always happens to me. God is always working His goodwill in my life. What is the scripture? Everything happens for a purpose, and all things work for good together for those who love the Lord. So you can just repeat back scripture. Saying these things out loud, do put them out into the universe. They are energetic. The Bible says there's life and death in the tongue. Some people want to call it positivity. I call it factual. Walking in truth. When it comes to trust, when it comes to betrayal, and when it comes to truth, the Bible refers to His people as those who hear His voice. That means they actually follow what's in the Bible. And those who walk in truth. And those are the basic two ways in which you can see fruit. And when we are walking in truth, and when we're speaking the words of God, when we are following His words, our bodies are not so messed up. Now we can do other things like the stressful environment, like the food. But let's move back on to the solar plexus. So there are some ways in which you can clear this energy, and I'm telling you, y'all, you can say what you will about it, but it does work. I know my daughter Autumn kept having chronic kidney and bladder infections. She'd been to the doctor and gotten on antibiotics. She'd been doing the cranberry pills. I mean, we had done everything. And I just took my hand and just applied some of my chakra clearing energy balancing practices, and she said I felt a pain go down my right leg, and then it was gone. She hadn't had a problem since, and she had battled it off and on for 2 months. So you can take your right hand, and if you're a woman, you go counterclockwise, and you can simply say, I'm releasing all feelings of negativity. You know, I'm releasing the feelings of nervousness. God is working on my behalf. And then you can move it back clockwise. So women, counterclockwise first, men, clockwise. You can say it out loud. You can put the essential oils on. You can use the tummy trouble that I have. You can use straight ginger. You can use peppermint. You can use lemon, orange. The best ones for inside are the lemon and the grapefruit. The best ones for the outside are peppermint and ginger. I combine it with frankincense because frankincense is a strengthener. So anything you combine with frankincense, it's going to make stronger. So yeah, you can go counterclockwise, and you can, you know, say, I'm releasing all of these bad feelings of nervousness, things that are outside of my control. I no longer hold on to any feelings of guilt for things I have not done just because someone else has said those things about me. Yeah, you have to start walking in truth, and you have to start aligning your chakras. Another thing that you can do is add your bitters to your drink. So fasting is absolutely biblical and one of the best ways to get your gut back in alignment. I said it at the beginning of the video, you're not going to be feeding it bad bacteria. You're not going to be feeding it, you know, anything that's going to continue to tear it up, and you're going to allow it a few days to heal. When you start back to eat, if you're dealing with something like IBS, you want to take into consideration chicken broth, bone broth, all of those healers, colostrum. I want to touch on this too. Colostrum is something that a lot of people have not gotten. It is imperative that you get those first 3 days of colostrum through breast milk, because colostrum is actually what builds your microbiome in your gut. So if you are someone who has gone without being breastfed for the first 3 days and you never got that colostrum, you never started out with a healthy microbiome to begin with, add that to a modern diet, overuse of antibiotics, lots of things like strep in the foods we eat. So you probably never had a good, strong microbiome to begin with. So your gut, your solar plexus, all of that is going to be out of alignment, and it's easier to stay sick. It's easier to, you just won't have that immunity. You don't have, that's what it is. Your colostrum is your immunity. So it builds the best part of the stomach lining first. So you need that. Add your bitters to your teas. Add your bitter herbs to tighten and repair the gut. And releasing feelings of negative emotion. Again, y'all can say it's crazy, but it works. You can also, I did the energy clearing, going in a counterclockwise and a clockwise motion depending on female or male. You can also just get as close without touching and pull, and you can say, I'm pulling out the nervousness. I'm pulling out the false accusations others have made of me. I'm pulling out all worry. I'm pulling out anything that's not of God, and you can cast that down to the floor. Those simple energy practices, you'll feel it. If you are being affected in some way in your gut by simple energy of emotions, like something someone has tried to project on you, you'll feel it. You will feel it in your body. You'll feel a sensation of cool. You may feel a sensation of heat. You'll feel maybe the pain move down because it's moving away from the area. You're clearing that area out. You're bringing it back into balance. I'm removing any emotions that are based on untruth. I'm removing any emotions that are based on a false sense of guilt. Yeah, and you will feel it. You may feel your gut tighten. But that's going to wrap up our solar plexus, several different ways to bring that back into alignment, balance it, heal it, and of course exercise. Exercise is also a good way, and simple walking is excellent for your abdomen, for that entire area, for processing food, all of it, better digestion. So I hope that helps y'all understand that area, the emotions that you can hold on to that affect that area, and several different ways in which to heal that area. All right, so I'm gonna say this already. There's some things I really would like to get rid of because I have a ton of them. I have Happy Face, I have Super Salve, and I have Allergy Stop, as well as Euphoria and the Hair Growth Stimulator, all marked down on my website. Okay, if you use the code HEALING30, and y'all, I'm practically giving this stuff away, you'll also get a 30% off discount. At the end of the month, I'm giving this month's 10% to Heather Wyatt. I just feel that that's where my gut intuition is leading me this month. All right, so that's that. And remember, tummy trouble, if you are experiencing physical things like gas, bloating, and never take what I'm saying over and above the advice of a licensed physician. If you're experiencing things like extreme gas and bloating, if you're experiencing things like, heaven forbid, blood in your stool, or any of those things, you do need to see a doctor. If it's something you've tried to work on holistically and it's not working, you do need to see a doctor. You may need to get on some prescription strength probiotics. So there's a lot of ways in which that's going to be up to you. Most of the time people have a good intuition or understanding of what's going on in their gut, but those are some basic ways in which you can heal it. I hope you found that helpful, and I'll put a link in the description box below to my website, and y'all have a blessed day.